Hi there, this is Professor Innes again, and this is Module 12, and this is on legislating lifestyles, which is very much linked to the libertarian theme within South Park. And we must say by now, I think, even though I can't tell you what to think, um, that South Park is largely libertarian. We've had an attempt at some Marxist interpretation. I don't know if we can interpret South Park with a Marxist interpretation. I think we're possibly going to have to accept that it is libertarian in nature. Now, with that libertarianism, we have a thread right through the majority of the cartoons whereby it is for the individual to do as they wish, as long as they don't violate the interests of others. Therefore, I can carry out my lifestyle as long as it doesn't prevent you from carrying out your lifestyle. So anything that's reasonable can be done. That's the libertarian viewpoint. Now, there are certain elements in the Republican Party which are libertarian by nature, and how big this element is another matter. There's been a controversy for the last few years with the Republican Party, just how strong this libertarian element is, and that is the one which we refer to as the Tea Party. I presume that to be the case. So, yeah, I don't know if they are really libertarian in nature, if they would fit in with this understanding here. That basically we're allowing people in the social world, well, social and economic and political world, to do as they wish, as long as it doesn't affect the wishes of others. So that's the idea we have here with the libertarianism. So when it links towards lifestyles, is it legitimate to legislate lifestyles, namely lay down the law which says how you should live? We do have other countries out there whereby it's whimsically said that either an act is illegal or it's mandatory. Therefore, the government has taken over and said, here, either you have to do it or you can't do it. So there's nothing out there which is left for you to choose whether you want it or not. The libertarian has the view that this paternalistic view of government is unacceptable and people should be left to make their own choices. So that's the argument here. Now we've got to think about it. Is that justified? Definitely. In South Park, that's considered to be justified. And we've got all these ridiculous people out there trying to legislate lifestyles and telling them that this is bad or this is good. And in the text and in the cartoon, there's the ultimate one of Mr. Mackey saying that drugs are bad. Of course, his argument is circular because he's saying drugs are bad because they're bad. So his argument is pretty poor to start with, but afterwards, even if you do put forward premises to say that they're bad, they've got to be ultimately strong premises to have it justified that the government's going to step in and prevent you from using these drugs. Otherwise, it's really up to you whether you take these drugs or not. And in this case, I think Mr. Mackey is talking about marijuana. And in that case, right, okay, should you be able to choose to use marijuana instead of the government legislating that you should not use marijuana? Again, that's the paternalistic viewpoint that the government is telling you what you can and cannot do. Right, so we do have a problem here about government. Should the government be kept out of our personal choices, or should they be involved? In South Park, I think we've got the idea that we should be left to our own devices. Again, we've got a problem that Parker and Stone are both multimillionaires. 10, 20, 30, 40 times over by now. Wouldn't surprise me if it was in the hundreds of millions by now. They can make these choices. Libertarians, like I was saying, tend to be pretty well-off people. So I think to myself, this is all good for you, but do we have problems with this? So watch the cartoons and think here, is this a rather idealistic view of political action? Is it the case that really Parker and Stone here of setting up this libertarianism in a world whereby only the wealthy can be free, and the rest of us really have to stick to the laws of the land, or stick to making choices within our financial limits. Right, so yeah, libertarianism sounds like a good ideal, but does it work in practice, we've got to say. Right, okay, that would be a critique of their argument. This is not Stone and Parker talking here. They don't very rarely criticize themselves, but we'll criticize them nonetheless as part of the analysis, part of the understanding. Right, so you have a journal entry, and the journal entry is, what do you think the legislation of lifestyle so what do you think about the legislation of lifestyle in South Park? Is it inevitable? So I'll say that again. What do you think about the legislation of lifestyle in South Park? Is it inevitable? So here you're going to talk about this in your journal and think here, right, legislation of lifestyles, what we can do, what we can't do. Are we going to avoid this? Obviously in the libertarian world, we should avoid it as an ideal, but out there, can it be possible? Can the government ever be justified in legislating about certain things? Even marijuana, is there a possibility here, that Mr. Mackey has got it right, that drugs are bad because they're bad? It's a circular argument, doesn't mean to say it's wrong, it's just a not very good argument. Maybe drugs are bad. So the question is, once again, what do you think about the legislation of lifestyles in South Park? Is it inevitable? Right, so that's your journal entry, so please discuss that in your entry. Right, so before I go, make sure you catch up on these modules. If you've missed work in the past, please do so. The course is getting towards an end, and at some point I'm going to have to close this course. So please catch up on that work if you have not been doing the work. Again, some of you are not referring to the cartoons, so please refer to the cartoons. I might have to get not very nice about this and reduce the grade of individual entries if there's no mention of the cartoon. So please, from watching these cartoons, introduce certain scenes to emphasize your argument or your point, please. Otherwise, this is not a course on South Park if we're not referring to South Park. So please refer to these cartoons in your discussions here. Right, I think that's basically it. I don't think we need to mention anything else. So we've kept it below 9 minutes, which is a good time to keep it below. Right, so let me know if you've got any problems, any difficulties, anything I need to do for you in this course. Okay, so I'll speak to you shortly in the journals. Okay, bye for now.